What's going on, friends? It's Anton Daniels, and I gotta have a conversation with you guys about Tiege Hanley because you see how the sun is hitting me. This is no finesse, no makeup, no filters, no none of that. This is 100% Tiege Hanley. I use it in the morning as soon as I get up, right after I pray and brush my teeth, jump in the shower, and I'm hitting the streets because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So even though they're giving you 40% off your first order, 20% off for life, even though you may get a free gift, forget all that, right? Because we would do this even if it was full price because it's worth that much. I'm in the streets, I'm kicking it with people, and I see Dusties everywhere. You don't want to be them. You want to separate yourself. And the way that you separate yourself is self-care. Ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. I'm about to hit the streets right now, and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling great. I mean, I already got confidence, but to have that extra boost of confidence, knowing that you've taken care of yourself and you set yourself apart from all of the rest of the sheep that's walking around making bad decisions on a daily basis. And it's reflected in their actions. It's reflected in the products that they use. It's reflected in the people that they follow. And so if you're trying to level up, if you're trying to make sure that you look good, they're going to send you the pack. They're going to give you all of the instructions on how you're supposed to use it. Then make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. Again, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Get your free gift. Make sure you tap in with your boy Anton Daniels because Unc is never going to lead you wrong. I would never have you use a product that I don't use myself. Again, they've been rocking with me for a long time. Make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I'm your host, Anton Daniels. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? Give yourselves a round of applause. We are in the building. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for continuing to rock out with the greatest morning show on earth, the Millionaire Morning Show. It is Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025, year of our Lord. We are back in the city, preparing ourselves to be back in the studio. Life is good. Got the Patreon exclusive live stream for Stock Club this weekend. What's going on, friends and family? Did y'all enjoy the show last night on After Hours? Man, that junk was hilarious. 2K was on there cutting up. Molly was on there. Carrie was on there. Slimmy was on there. Quentin was on there. It was a good time. It was an absolutely positively awesome good time. I want to encourage you guys to first subscribe to all of the channels and the platforms and to turn on your notifications. Secondly, share this with a family and friend. Third, you may want to sign up for the Patreon because that's where the money is. And make sure you tap into the Discord. The link to the Discord is in the description of any of the most recent videos inside of the Patreon. And then last but not least, make sure you get your Teach 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. It is a phenomenal product. Young Gladiator says, by far the funniest show you've had last night. Yeah, everybody was having a good time. After Hours is the show where we kind of cut loose, and it's the thing that you experience when you're in the living room with your friends or you're at the kitchen table with your friends, and you're just having a good time, and you just talk unfiltered, and you really give your authentic thoughts. So shout out to everybody that rocks out with us on After Hours. We love you and appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I also want to acknowledge the early supporters of the platform. You guys are the MVPs of everything that we got going on. I want to acknowledge first Mike That Dude. Thank you, Mike That Dude, for holding me down. I appreciate you. ESDC is in the building. Shout out to Stephen Clay. Stephen Clay says, thanks, AD, for all that you do. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you to Mika Rembrandt. First birthday without her mom, but spending it with y'all. Thank you, Mika. And hey, listen, it get better. Trust me. I've been there where you going. I've been there what you dealing with. It get better every single day. I Need Money says good morning and shout out to you. I also want to give a shout out to Spencer Campbell and Rand Wilson. Shout out to everybody on Cash App that support the platform. And then Latrell. Thank you, Latrell, for holding me down for my first super chat of the day. I appreciate you. Y'all want to go ahead and get started with some prayer and get into the show? We got a dope show lined up for you guys today. Again, send this to Gam. Send this to your friends and family. It's a family-friendly show. We don't even curse on the Millionaire Morning Show. You know what I'm saying? Debnam said they shouldn't even go to that church again. We gonna get there. We gonna get right into it right after prayer. We gonna get some real prayer, not that LGBTQ prayer. What I said we gonna get some real prayer, not that. Lord, you said where 2 or 3 are gathered in your name, there you are in the midst of us. These churches that are supposed to be pillars of the community, they don't even ask in Jesus' name. You said that we're supposed to seek and petition your blessings and a relationship with you through Jesus, and they don't even acknowledge him. They don't even give reverence to Jesus. They give more reverence to Mary than the person that actually sent the Comforter. Lord, I ask that you expose and have everybody in every name unapologetically turn back to you, your ways and traditional values and the things that we're supposed to go to, and fix our mentality, fix this country, fix our politicians, fix every single thing that is wrong with this country, and separate us from the dusty, separate us from the people that they keep trying to tell us that we need to acknowledge, that we need to accept, that we need to acknowledge and roll with, that we need to acknowledge and fight with, and we need to invite them into our homes. No, we don't. No, we don't. Lord, help us and give us the courage, the strength, the mindset to separate ourselves from the people that are not going in the direction that we're going in. What business do we have congregating amongst people that don't even see things the way that we see them? We don't have to accept this nonsense. As a matter of fact, darkness can't even be in the same room as light. Bless us to recognize who we are, to stand in our purpose, to go forward without any kind of reservation, and not to care about what other people think about us, but they should be caring about what we think about them. And we ask all of these blessings in Jesus' name. Let's get to it. They say, AD, you should open up the show with prayer every day. I try to. Sometimes I get to it after quick hits. Sometimes I get to it after the first segment. But we've been on a roll. We've been getting to it at least every day. We've been getting to it, all right? Y'all ready to get into the show? I'm very much unapologetic, but I don't censor people. So people can pretty much give their opinions here as long as you're not cursing, as long as you're not getting disrespectful. If you got a difference of opinion, we rock with you. We don't censor you. Shout out to the moderators and shout out to everybody that's getting to it. Y'all ready to get into the show? Let's rock. First things first. We're not even going into quick hits until we get back in the studio. First things first, let's get straight into this, Reverend. All right? This is the actual speech where the Reverend, the bishop, the woman that is on the pulpit, I will tell you that I made sure that I did not watch this prior to doing this show today because I want to authentically have a conversation about what we talking about and if this makes sense. This is the prayer or the petition or the begging, I'm not sure what it is yet because I did not watch it prior to, of this woman that is standing on the pulpit petitioning Trump and J.D. Vance to have mercy on illegals, on gay people, the LGBTQ community, and more. Y'all ready to get to it? All right, let's get it. Let's pop it. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. This is what Democrats and liberals want us to accept.
The culture of contempt that has become normalized in this country threatens to destroy us. We are all bombarded daily.
Look at them. They look
with
bored.
Messages from what sociologists now call the outrage.
Oh, hold on. Before we get into the actual speech, hey, look at J.D. Vance. Hey, Trump is doing like this. Hey, JD Vance just staring at her like, who is this crazy woman that's sitting up here on the pulpit, and why are we listening to female preachers in the first place? Yo, this whole scene right here should be a meme. This should be a portrait. This should be printed. I am going to print this picture and put this on a t-shirt. Look at JD Vance's face. Look at dog face. Look at him.
With messages from what sociologists now call the outrage.
Oh. We got to get to the speech. We don't want to get derailed. We have to get to the speech. This is crazy. Trump ain't hearing it because there's so much going on in this whole scene already, and we ain't even 15 seconds in. Jesus. Truth Uncensored. I'm sorry, baby. What am I supposed to do? When I notice stuff, I have to acknowledge it.
Industrial complex. Some of that driven by external forces whose interests are furthered by a polarized America. Contempt fuels political campaigns and social media, and many profit from that. But it's a worrisome, it's a dangerous way to lead a country.
Look at J.D. Vance.
I'm a person of faith, surrounded by people of faith. And with God's help, I believe that unity in this country is possible. Not perfectly, for we are imperfect people and an imperfect union, but sufficient enough to keep us all believing in and working to realize the ideals of the United States of America, ideals expressed in the Declaration of Independence with its assertion of innate human equality and dignity. And we are right to pray for God's help as we seek unity, for we need God's help. But only if we ourselves are willing to tend to the foundations upon which unity depends. Like Jesus' analogy of building a house of faith on the rock of his teachings as opposed to building a house on sand, the foundations we need for unity must be sturdy enough to withstand the many storms that threaten it. And so what are they? The foundations of unity? Drawing from our sacred traditions and text, let me suggest that there are at least three. The first foundation for unity is honoring the inherent dignity of every human being.
No, that's not in the Word of God. Please cite your scriptures. Please cite your sources and your scriptures. That is not in.
As all the faiths represented here affirm, the birthright of all people as children of our one God.
That's not what it says. That's not what it says.
In public discourse,
that's not what it says.
Honoring each other's dignity means refusing to mock or discount or demonize those with whom we differ, choosing instead to respectfully debate our differences, and whenever possible, to seek common ground. And if common ground is not possible, dignity demands that we remain true to our convictions without contempt for those who hold convictions of their own.
What?
Second foundation for unity is honesty in both private conversation and public discourse.
This is crazy.
If we're not willing to be honest, there's no use in praying for unity because our actions work against the prayers themselves. We might, for a time,
look at Trump,
experience a false sense of unity among some, but not the sturdier, broader unity that we need to address the challenges that we face. Now, to be fair, we don't always know where the truth lies.
What?
And there's a lot working against the truth now. But when we do know, when we know what is true, it's incumbent upon us to speak the truth, even when, especially when, it costs us. And the third and last foundation I'll mention today is foundation for unity is humility, which we all need because we are all fallible human beings. We make mistakes. We say and do things that we later regret. We have our blind spots and our biases, and perhaps we are most dangerous to ourselves and others when we are persuaded without a doubt that we are absolutely right and someone else is absolutely wrong. Because then we are just a few steps from labeling ourselves as the good people versus the bad people. And the truth is that we're all people. We're both capable of good and bad. Alexander Solzhenitsyn once astutely observed that the line separating good and evil passes not through states, not between classes, nor between political parties, but right through every human heart, through all human hearts.
This is retarded.
And the more we realize this, the more room we have within ourselves for humility and openness to one another across our differences, because in fact we are more like one another than we realize.
They acting just like how our family be when we be in some place and we be saying stuff that's crazy and we just start mumbling and whispering to each other. Hey man, that's just crazy, bro, when we get out of here. The Trump family, the Vance family, all of them that's behind them is all looking like this hoe is crazy. Real talk.
And we need each other. Unity is relatively easy to pray for on occasions of great solemnity. It's a lot harder to realize when we're dealing with real differences in our private lives and in the public arena.
I gotta research this later.
But without unity, we're building our nation's house on sand.
This is crazy.
And with a commitment to unity that incorporates diversity and transcends disagreement, and with the solid foundations of dignity, honesty, and humility that such unity requires, we can do our part and in our time to realize the ideals and the dream of America. Let me make one final plea, Mr. President. Millions have put their trust in you. And as you told the nation yesterday, you have felt the providential hand of a loving God. In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in
Y'all with me on this one? Are y'all with me on this one? I want to make sure that we all in the same space and that we all could look at this thing objectively. Are y'all with me on this one, or are we all... Do I need to say it? Do I need to say the quiet part out loud, or are we all on the same page here? God ain't in this. God ain't in this. It ain't an angel, a cherubim, a saint, a anything that is in that place. I wouldn't even call it a church. I would not even call it a church. That is not a place of worship. That is, God ain't in it. Jesus ain't in it. Ain't nothing in there even remotely holy. Not the water, not the bathrooms, not nothing. They playing church. They're playing church. Ain't nothing in there holy. I'm telling you right now. I just want to be very, very clear of where I stand in this whole conversation while we having this conversation, all right? Ain't in it. Bennett ain't in it. Not at all.
In our country, who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families. Some who fear for their lives. And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meatpacking plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation.
Jesus, Lord.
But the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals.
You know what the word says? It say, obey the laws and the rules of the land. What happened to that part? Obey the laws and the rules of the land. She is up there against God's wishes for her to be up there because she's not supposed to be in a pulpit at all. She's advocating for gay, lesbian, and LGBTQ communities, which is completely against the word of God. And now she's talking about having mercy on people who came over here illegally because they pick our crops. If this is not an agenda, if this is not a war against traditional values, I don't know what is.
They pay taxes and are good neighbors. They are faithful members of our churches and mosques, synagogues, wadara, and temples. I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away, and that you help those who are fleeing war zones and persecution in their own lands to find compassion and welcome here. Our God teaches us that we are to be merciful to the stranger, for we will all
be merciful to the stranger. Okay.
Once strangers in this land.
I don't know what word she reading out of.
May God grant us the strength and courage to honor the dignity of every human being, to speak the truth to one another in love, and walk humbly with each other and our God for the good of all people in this nation and the world.
All right.
What did you think of What did you think of the service?
What did you think? Did you like it? Did you find it exciting? Not too exciting, was it? I didn't think it was a good service, no.
And this is exactly what we need in our society. We need people that stand on business and masculinity and do not pivot, do not switch up, don't tell the people what they want to hear. Just keep it 100% real. Respectful, but real. He said, "Did you think it was a good service?" I don't think it was a good service. No. Wasn't exciting, wasn't a good service at all. And he addressed the reporters directly. He said, what you thought that I thought that it was a good service? And this is why we got to get this country in order. We got to get this place in order. We got to get this country in order. It is a godless service that you just witnessed right there. But we got more. We going to deep dive into it. But before I deep dive into it, let me go ahead and get some of these super chats knocked out. We going to come back to that. Tuned in for after hours and got nasty hours. My girlfriend Jerry says, Tiffany, Laura, and JD Vance's faces are hilarious. Shout out to my girl Jerry. Prophetess Quenisha says, 1 Timothy 3:2, a bishop then must be blameless, the husband of one wife, temperate, sober-minded, of good behavior, hospitable, and able to teach. Christopher B. in the building says, this is why so many men have abandoned the church. That's a fact. I swear I thought she was a man. Oops, my mistake, says Elizabeth Williams. Trini Life says, why Vance have them lines on his forehead? You know why. Logical Thought says, best after hours last night, wife and I was in tears. Crazy. That's what you wearing around the house today? Well, for the other property? Yeah. Got you, I'll do it. Yeah, let me speak to him. Hey, how you doing?
Hi, this is Angela with Consumers Energy. Who am I speaking with?
Anton Daniels.
Hi, Anton. You want to start?
Yes, I want to, but I want to backdate the stop service also because I haven't been there for a while.
You have to stop it the day you call.
Okay, yeah, you can stop it. Can I get off the phone now and give the phone back to her?
Nope. I can only speak with you about this because she is.
I already told you to stop it though. I just said stop it.
Okay, but I have to go through a process with you and ask you a couple questions before I can stop the services, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Can you verify? Okay. What's a good number for you?
313.
Want to give me an updated mailing address for your final bill?
$26.50 Cooley Lake Road, Unit 27, Union Lake, Michigan 48387.
Oh, yep, we do have that one on here. Okay.
Yep.
This gets updated here.
I'm all set now?
No, sir. I'm not done yet.
Oh.
We have your P.O. box as your mailing address, so I'm changing that really quick.
It's the same address, ma'am.
Okay, I'm putting in your stop date. One moment. We're almost done. All right, so just so you're aware, your last billing cycle went from November 21st to December 20th. So you will have a final bill from December 21st through today, January 22nd. We'll send that out to your Cooley Lake address, and now your account balance is zero. All set. Have a good day.
Thank you. Some people in the chat is saying that I doxed myself. No, that is my mailing address. That is the address that you have right down in the description. If anybody want to send me anything, you can send it to that address. 7650 Cooley Lake Road, Unit 27, Union Lake, Michigan 48387. All right? So if anybody wants to, yeah, Rita could have did that. If anybody wants to send me anything, you're more than welcome to send it to that mailing address. Again, that's the same mailing address that's in the description. All right, let's get back into the super chats, and then we're going to deep dive back into the show. Aaron L. says she referenced Alex, but no biblical scripture. Facts. The Witch Doctor says tonight on 5 p.m. News, woke priest has been replaced. No excuse lifestyle. Rocky Cage says, hey, what's up, AD? I'm about to head out and get that bag doing Uber Eats. Trump's expression says everything. His body language says, what the fudge am I listening to? Salute to you, brother. I appreciate you also. Kelvin Whaley in the building. Shout out to Kelvin Whaley. I appreciate you. Says, it's Rachel Maddow after BSDNC. My bad, MSNBC. Shout out to you. I appreciate y'all. Let me see. What else we got over here? Melvin Johnson in the building says, where's a Sandman when you need him? Apollo style, get him out of here. Mr. Campbell says, why she remind me of Reverend Kane from Poltergeist? Prophetess says she gave no scripture. Who chose her? Not us. Rich Steve, what up to Rich Steve? I appreciate you. Casual Germ says, what happened to separation of church and state? Why should she not be pushing her political views? Basically calling Trump a monster to his face is rude. Joe Smooth says, in the Bible that's called the synagogue of Satan. That's not a church. The Green Monster in the building says, this lady's ear needs a little work done. Rich Steve in the building says, I do not permit a woman to teach nor to exercise authority over a man. Rather, she is to remain quiet. 1 Timothy 2:12. Sean is in the building and says, she's a demon, activist, playing bishop, spewing pure BS, not one biblical scripture from the Bible. But shout out to President Trump for not leaving. I would have got up immediately. Elizabeth Williams says, I suffer not a woman to teach nor to preach. 1 Timothy 2:12. Shout out. Y'all know y'all scriptures. Chris Cunningham says, Democrats did a quarterback sneak. CEJ So Chill says, mute time, dog. What am I muting for? My whole life is a public book. Beast University says, I know it's for clicks and a popular talking point. However, the Spirit, Holy Spirit, is no respecter of person, meaning men and women are able to preach and teach. Holy Spirit has no gender. And you're wrong. You're wrong. Listen, I need you to be quiet, sit down, and do what you're supposed to do. Actually, the word says he gives you teachers and preachers after his own heart, not based off of what you think sounds good to you. The word says he gives you teachers and preachers after his own heart, not based off of what you think makes the most sense. So that's why y'all keep being led astray. This is one of the reasons why y'all keep finding yourselves in a dark space, because y'all following people that sound good, but you have no ability to discern for yourself. And when you choose for yourself, often at times you choose wrong because you have no leadership. You have no leadership. You have nobody to guide you, and you need a father figure in your life. And often at times that resembles order, and God has given clear order. He does not leave you to your own devices. He does not leave you to do what you think makes sense for you. He gives you a clear order and clear understanding. And if y'all don't get in your word, if y'all don't start looking in your word and getting deep down and consecrated in the word of God, please miss me with this. This is not what you think it is. And I am not the person that you can come up and debate with and start telling your own scripture and giving your own understanding of what you think the scripture means. I am well versed. I read it every day. I study my word every single day. I've read the Bible back and forth. I'm on my 8th time. I'm not the person that you're going to finesse. Sit down, and be a perfect example of what a wife is supposed to be. Let's get back into this foolishness. Because I ain't done. I got to get there. Trump criticizes the church service is not good. Y'all seen that. But the bishop is trying to get her moment, making sure that he or she, I don't know what their pronouns are, did an interview on CNN to explain exactly what they were doing when they were petitioning Trump to have mercy on illegals and to acknowledge the LGBTQ and the gay community. Let's continue.
Tonight, a bishop takes on Trump and pleads with him face-to-face to, quote, have mercy. The Episcopal Bishop of Washington pleading with President Trump to show compassion towards undocumented immigrants and the LGBTQ community today. A dramatic moment coming during her sermon at today's National Prayer Service. I'm going to speak to the bishop in just a moment, but first, so everyone can understand exactly what happened, I want to play for you the moment and show you at the same time on the screen the president's reaction.
Let me make one final plea, Mr. President. Millions have put their trust in you. And as you told the nation yesterday, you have felt the providential hand of a loving God. In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people.
And then she's going to throw God in there. In the name of our God. In the name of our God. What God you serve? Because this ain't the God of Job and Abraham and Isaac. This ain't them. This ain't the God of Paul. This this ain't none of them. Real talk. I'm just gonna keep it real with you. This ain't the guy to them.
In our country, who are scared now.
All right, Reverend Marianne Edgar Buddy, the bishop at Washington National Cathedral, is now out front. And Bishop, I appreciate your
wonder,
time.
hey, somebody tell me that's out in Washington. The Washington National Cathedral Church. Tell me if they got a rainbow flag out there too. That's all I want to know. Tell me if they got a rainbow flag. Let's get into it.
And your tone there, so serious and genuine. You see him, he's stone-faced, he then looks down, but he's listening to every word you say. As you made that personal plea to him, what were you looking at him in that moment? What kind of response were you perhaps hoping for in that moment?
I was looking at the president because I was speaking directly to him. I was also, frankly, as you do in every sermon, speaking to everyone who was listening through that one-on-one conversation with the president, reminding us all that in the people that are frightened in our country, the two groups of people that I mentioned are our fellow human beings, and that they have been portrayed in all throughout the political campaign in the harshest of lights that I wanted to counter as gently as I could with a reminder of their humanity and their place in our wider community. And I was speaking to the president because I felt that he has this moment now where he feels charged and empowered to do what he feels called to do. And I wanted to say, you know, there is room for mercy. There's room for a broader compassion. We don't need to portray with a broad cloth in the harshest of terms some of the most vulnerable people in our society who are, in fact, our neighbors, our friends, our children, our friends' children, and so forth.
So
the church should not be inclusive. The church should be exclusive. The real church should not be inclusive. It should be exclusive. Exclusively for those that choose to do the Lord's work. Now, nobody said that you had to be perfect when you came in. But the point and the fact of the matter is we should not be tolerant of anything just because you said that we need to plead to somebody's humanity. That's not how the game works. That's how you start getting sassy people leading choir service. That's how you start getting people to vote on who they think should be the leader of the church instead of who was ordained and chosen by God to be the leader. That's how you start seeing a remixing of the scripture and word salad, and why you start seeing church leaders on the pulpits and people like Fonnie Willis and Kamala Harris up there while at the same time espousing some of the most evil and hateful things that we know is not good for society or best for our children. The church should not be inclusive. You can't just do anything you want to do when you come in here. Now, nobody said that you had to be all the way right or perfect or that you was without sin. But the point is that you're going to respect the rules and the regulations by which we go about doing things in here. You're not going to be disrespectful. You're not going to bully us. You're not going to tell us what we can do. And this is one of the problems with the church is that people walk away from the church because there are no rules. And the church has now become more demonic in most instances for a lot of these places than being out on the street every day. The church should not be inclusive. I just said it, and I said it with my chest, and I said it 3 different times. What part of it didn't you hear? It's exclusive, meaning that you have to meet certain expectations when you come in here. You're not going to be throwing around your little cock talking about, I want to marry a man. And then I'm forcing you as a bishop or a preacher or a reverend to acknowledge me marrying another man. I don't have to acknowledge anything. That goes against the rules of the book of the Bible. And if it does not abide by the word of God, the living word, then I am not going to sit here and accommodate you in your sin. It didn't say that we had to accommodate you in your sin. It said that we had to drive the devil out. I don't have to accommodate you in your sin. I don't have to justify your bad behavior. Who told you that? Who told you that? What's wrong with y'all? Where we at? What we doing? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm supposed to make sure that everybody feels comfortable. We're not driving away your humanity. We live in the United States of America where I truly believe in freedom of speech and freedom to do what you want to do as long as it's not against the law. But that don't mean that I have to accept it in my household and accommodate you. I think you should be able to go to work and do what you got to do to feed your family. And you can bust down or get bust down by who you want to as long as you're not doing something against a little kid. That is on you. That is your business. I love this country that we have freedom of choice. But it's not going to be freedom from consequences. It's not freedom of consequences. And so that's going to be between you and God. I don't have to have mercy on you because I don't have a heaven and hell to put you in. So don't ask for my grace. Grace is for God, not for me. The only thing that God required me to do is to be obedient and to forgive. I don't have to have grace on you, and I don't have to have mercy on you. Let me say it again for the people in the back. I don't have to accommodate your sin. I don't have to have grace on you. I don't have to have mercy on you. I don't have a heaven or hell to put you in. That is for God. Grace and mercy is for him, not for me. He said to forgive and to ask for forgiveness according to how you forgive other people, treat people and deal with people and issue forgiveness according to how you want to be forgiven. That's what the word says. I don't have to play that game with you. I don't have to watch you kiss your boyfriend, you and your man kissing your boyfriend and you sitting on my couch. Get out my house. Get out my house. I don't have to play that game with you. I don't have to accommodate you. And more importantly, these are people, these illegal migrants that's inside of this country, these are people that are in this country creating havoc, wreaking havoc, taking advantage of taxpayers, and doing some of the most egregious things and crimes against some of the very citizens that pay for the taxes for them to be here. I don't have to play that game with you. I don't have to play that game with you.
So you spoke. I like how you use the word gently because it was gentle. I mean, it was intense and passionate, but yet it was gentle. It was not ugly or confrontational. Wouldn't expect it to be, but these are hard things to talk about in that context. You spoke obviously about undocumented migrants, also the LGBT community, the two communities you're talking about. I wanted to play a little bit more of what you said, and also again the president's reaction at that moment.
There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families, some who fear for their lives. The vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes and are good neighbors. I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away.
What made you decide to say all that today?
Well, these are the people that I know. These
are
not
you do.
abstract
You look
people.
like you know them. You look like you know them. Of course you know them.
For me, these are actual people that I know.
No cursing in the chat. I will not say it again. I already banned one person for being egregious with the disrespect for the cursing. This is a family show, and we do not tolerate disrespect for other people's family members. You can have your opinion. You can say what you want. You will be timed out if you are overly aggressive with your cursing and trying to be disrespectful inside of the chat. We are tolerant of people with different views. We invite you to have a different view and a different opinion because I don't agree 100% with what I said yesterday sometimes. But you will not be disrespectful, and I will have the mods time you out if you out here being crazy.
So I wanted to speak on their behalf. I wanted to present a vision of what unity can look like in this country that is transcending of differences and viewpoints and acknowledging our common humanity.
Yes.
I wanted to speak in such a way that reflected that dignity and respect, but I also wanted to bring into that space the real humanity of the people that I was referencing.
Now, he was asked about that because obviously there were cameras in there. People saw that interaction and they saw it. He was asked about your service afterward, and here's what he said.
Not too exciting, was it? I didn't think it was a good service, no. They could do much better.
From him, honestly, Bishop, it's tame. He could have said much. He could have been much stronger than that.
Oh,
but
yeah.
obviously, he made he made his feelings known in that context. But we know, right? He'll say what he thinks, and he could have said much more. What's your response to him in that?
Well, I agree with you. It was a very muted response. I wasn't expecting. I keep my expectations low whenever I preach, Aaron. I can't always measure impact by body language or even what people say afterwards. And so I have to let all of that go. I speak from what I believe I've been given to say and let it go from there. But it was a respectful response. He didn't like it. He said so. He said we could do better. Some of the other comments I've received haven't been as kind or has been as...
Yeah, shut up. Somebody said we need to pull up Trump's tweets, responses to it. Well, let's go ahead and do it. Let's see if we can find those. I think that Fox had showed those. CNN will refuse to always show those, but let's get into what he said over at Fox.
Clear. He said the so-called bishop who spoke at the National Prayer Service on Tuesday morning was a radical left hardline Trump hater. She brought her church into the world of politics in a very ungracious way. She was nasty in tone and not compelling or smart. She failed to mention the large number of illegal immigrants that came into our country and killed people. Many were deposited from jails and mental institutions. It's a giant crime wave that is taking part in the USA. Apart from her inappropriate statements, the service was very boring and uninspiring. She is not very good at her job. She and her church owe the public an apology.
Facts, and this is why I love my president. I haven't loved having a president that speak their mind that's a true representation of masculinity and what we stand for as a people in a long time. I'm so happy to be an American. When is the last time that you can say I'm happy to be an American? That I'm happy to be in America, that I am excited for what we are experiencing and that we got somebody that stand on business, call a strike, call a ball, and call a foul a foul. I am very, very excited about what this looks like, and I'm very thankful that we have a president that stand on business. Listen to what he said. He says the so-called bishop, meaning that it's a lot of people that's pretending to be a part of the church, to be a bishop, and not everybody is called by God, but they're going to call themselves to the pulpit, and that's fine. We'll rock with that, but the so-called bishop who spoke at the National Prayer Service on Tuesday morning was a radical left, hardline Trump hater. She brought her church into the world of politics in a very ungracious way. Facts. Everything that he's saying is facts. She was nasty in tone and not compelling or smart. My father always used to tell me, Anton, he said, Anton, make sure that everything you do and everything that you say is conducive. I always used to question him. And he would just leave it at that and he would just walk away. And when I got older and he was still preaching that same message, and I said, what do you mean by making it conducive? He said, Anton, does it serve a purpose or does it serve to divide? Is what you saying the truth? I said, yeah. He said, okay, good. He said, are you saying it the right way? I said, I'm not so sure. He said, think about that. He said, and then what's the end result? What's the end goal? I said, well, the end goal is to make sure that we save souls or to get people to convert or to get people to think differently about their decisions. He said, but if you're just doing it and driving people away for the sake of arguing, what's the purpose? If you knew that it wouldn't yield results, but you just wanted to say something to get your thoughts off, even if it was true, and it turned out to be offensive or it turned out to be against the best interests of the people that you were talking to, what purpose did it serve? If you can't convince people or you can't drive people to do the right thing, even if it offends them first, and then they think about it later, if all it does is just cause chaos and havoc, and you still might be wrong, you may want to rethink whether or not you want to say it. If it's not conducive, it doesn't make sense. That's what having a strong masculine father does for you in your life. He says she was nasty in tone, not compelling or smart. She failed to mention the large number of illegal migrants that came into our country and killed people. All facts. Many were deposited from jails and mental institutions. It is a giant crime wave that is taking place in America. And anybody that has ever visited Portland or Seattle or Chicago or Los Angeles or in a lot of these different cities inside of California or New York or any of these other liberal cities such as Denver and New Mexico, if you visited any of the places that some of the densely populated locations and seen some of the atrocities and the things that people suffer through on a regular basis, then you would probably have a difference of opinion as far as saying that, oh, have mercy on these people. Why would I have mercy? Or why would he then say have mercy on a group of people that's causing all of the havoc inside of the United States of America? Absolutely not. They need to pay for their crimes. They need to be accountable for their actions. And they need to go back to their country that they came from. Apart from her inappropriate statements, the service was very boring and uninspiring one. She is not very good at her job. Facts. She and her church owe the public an apology. All facts. Can we get a round of applause for the masculinity in Trump? I love it. I absolutely, positively love it. Greatest president of all time. Quite possibly the greatest president of all time. Let me read some of these super chats and get to it. Jovan C. says, I wish the same sentiment was made when Lupe Fiasco called Obama a terrorist at Obama's inauguration party. He was direct, and the Reverend was throwing shade, a lady of the Lord. Carolyn EHS says, I've been to many different types of Christian churches in my lifetime. When I was searching out a church home, stopped going because of people. No tolerance for people. Sorry. Well, Carolyn, you in church today, baby. We preaching today. Beast University says, for the Lord is not a man who shall lie. Literally stating he has no gender, came down as a fleshly representation of his father. Also, I am one you can go M for M with this because I read too. Whatever that means. Rush King 19, I appreciate you for the super chats. I don't even know what M for M means. Are you saying million for million? What is M for M? Is that what you want to talk about? Didn't God himself throw his own people out of the promised land? Yes, he did. He didn't throw them out. He said none of them will see the promised land. None of them will see the land of milk and honey because of how they were doing things in their lives. Am I wrong? You are not wrong. But children of Israel, the ones that were originally freed from under Pharaoh, none of them, he said, none of them will live to see the land of milk and honey. None of them was to see the promised land. You are absolutely, positively right. He didn't let any of them make it to see the promised land. 3-Man Podcast says, I didn't know they made emo bishops. Emo bishops. Prophetess says they have a rainbow Bible on Amazon. I bet they do. They'll sell anything. Christopher Mayberry says, this show ain't the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and a bad Negro and Abednego? Is that what you meant to say? A bad Negro. Maybe you had some did he have some correction, some I don't know. April says she doesn't look like she has studied anything about theology. Who officiated her? Oh, they say that she won her position. She got elected to it. Shout out to my girl April. Mr. Lone Star says, crazy how the deporter-in-chief didn't get this type of message. Seminole 2014 says, folks twisting a word for their own agenda because they anointed and align with Satan and don't even know it. They're praying to Satan in disguise. Let the blind lead the blind, though. No excuse lifestyle. Rocky Cage goes on to say, people like this is why guys like myself refuse to go to church because many churches are corrupt. I'll just leave it right there. I'm with you. Shout out to my dog, Kyle Davis, in the building. Says 1 Timothy 3, 1 and 2, the King James Version. This is a true saying. If a man desire the office of a bishop, he desireth a good work. A bishop must then be blameless, the husband of one wife, vigilant, sober, of good behavior, given to hospitality, and apt to teach. Shout out to Kyle Davis. There are so many things missing from the Bible, and there's so many people missing from the church. Go on and get you in there and get yourself together. That's a bishop who needs an exorcism, and ain't nothing missing from the Word of God. Everything is there that you need. That's a bishop who needs an exorcism. The power of Christ compels you. Where's the Diddy anointing oil when you need it, TD Jakes? Where you at? Where you at? You with me? Derek's Life event says Trump needs to publicly remove her and the church tax status and send a message. David Dubb says she's a heretic. The Bible teaches to follow the law of man as well. Last I checked, crossing the border illegally is a crime. Will Jones says, I think she's LGBTQ, so go figure. Jeremy H. says she must have skipped the part where God ordered nations destroyed and their idols burned to protect his people of the Old Testament. That is a fact. Beast University goes on to say with a super chat, we appreciate you. Says the misinformation is crazy, but that's okay because it gives a testament to what the word says is true. For some will say that right is wrong and wrong is right. Again, the spirit of the Lord, the spirit of the lot, D, is that. You're wrong. Again, women can be bishops. Is this a trick? No, they can't. First John 4:7 says to love one another. I can love you and rebuke those bad spirits at the same time. Amen. Antoine says, Anton, you got me taking notes. It's inspiring to see a wonderful brother like you. Gratitude is the greatest attitude. Appreciate you. I appreciate you too, my friend. Eric D goes on to say we must be merciful to others. See James 2:13. I don't have to be merciful to anybody. Ryder Guy says tolerance to them means you agree with them. That's not what tolerance means. Tolerance doesn't equate validation of their opinions. Levite Apparel says, Anton, Bible said bishops, the husband of one wife. Yoshi 504 says they have disrespected God for 4 years, and now they want to use his pulpit for political purposes. Is disgusting. Eternal Love is in the building, says, how you disrespect a man and think he's supposed to be happy? Chris Cunningham says, I emailed you a video for you to review. All right, thank you, Chris Cunningham. I appreciate you. Kay says, the whole verse, Beast 19. God is not a man that he should lie, neither the son of man that he should repent. Hath he said, and shall he not do it? Or hath he spoken, and shall he not make it good? Amen. 01 says, AD. Good morning, AD, and everyone just saying God doesn't make mistakes. That's a fact, too. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel and turn on your notification. We got a good show popping. The chat is chatting today. My co-host of the show, the chat is chatting today. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Also, Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order, plus 20% off for life. In addition to that, deportations are starting. Let's get to it.
By the end of President Trump's second day in office, he's already signed more than 200 executive orders. One now allowing ICE and CBP agents to make arrests at churches and schools.
There's a lot of panic that's setting in.
Phoenix immigration attorney Bill Schnebley says his office has been fielding a ton of calls today from undocumented migrants with pending legal cases who are concerned when ICE raids will start in the Valley.
You can give your name and your date of birth, and then tell them you don't want to answer any questions until you have an attorney present.
We don't need nobody giving advice to somebody that's here illegally. We don't need anybody giving advice to anybody here illegally. What? Let me ask y'all a question, and I'm just curious, because when I see people like this, or I see people that are huge advocates for people that are doing things illegally inside of this country, it always begs the question, what interest do you have in it? What interest do you have in it? Are you married to an illegal wife? Do you have some illegals working on your farm or your property? What? I always try to figure out what exactly is the purpose of it and why people take certain positions that's in direct contrast to the best interests of the American people as far as upholding and obeying the law.
You still have that right.
Trump's executive order today rescinds the Biden administration policy of preventing ICE and CBP agents from arresting people in what they call sensitive areas, like churches and schools. The Department of Homeland Security announcement today says in part, quote, criminals will no longer be able to hide in America's schools and churches to avoid arrest. The Biden administration abused the humanitarian parole program to indiscriminately allow 1.5 million migrants to enter our country.
No longer can you take shelter and think that we not going to kick in the doors, waving the fofo. All you heard is Trump, don't hit me no mo. No longer can you take shelter in places to avoid arrest. We're coming in everywhere. We going in every crack, every crevice, every church, every school, everywhere. And we're not even going to separate you. The whole family can go. Tom Homan said, listen, to all of these blue cities, and this is what he said, to all of these blue cities that are preventing people from being arrested or you harboring illegal migrants, we would like to work with you. They want to, once the person commits a crime, for example, and this is a fact, because they're going after the ones that have already committed crimes. Those are the ones that they're going after. He said, listen, when y'all arrest them or they do something that they're not supposed to do and they're here illegally, let us deport them. Work with us. Let us deport them and get them up out of here because they should not be walking around in society and they already here illegally. But places like Chicago and New York, they are saying, well, we can't help y'all. We not going to assist y'all. We going to play coy and we going to play nice. We going to avoid this conversation. They said, okay. So now guess what happens? This is what happens. If you decide that you don't want to help and you allow for them to go free, once they find them, and they will find them, and they are hunting them down and they are sparing no expense to do so. Once they find them, anybody that is harboring them, anybody that is with them that is illegally is getting deported too, regardless of whether or not they actually committed a crime. If you don't assist us and you get these people and you arrest them and they get a criminal record and they here illegally, when they find them, anybody else that's with them that is here illegally, regardless of whether or not they committed a crime, they are getting deported also. Nisha Marie says, Anton, can you share your thoughts on birthright citizenship? I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. I'll tell you more. Let me get finished with the rest of this clip, and then
This
we'll
was
deep
all
dive into
stopped
it.
on day one of the Trump administration. This action will return the humanitarian parole program to its original purpose of looking at migrants on a case-by-case basis. Hector Ramirez is the pastor at a church in Mesa that helps migrants coming into the country by taking care of them for their first few days in the United States.
No todos los migrantes que entran a los Estados Unidos son delincuentes.
Not all migrants who enter the United States are criminals. Certainly, if there are people who come with bad intentions into the United States, I think that authorities have to act and arrest them.
He's concerned about the new policy, but says it won't stop him from helping those he feels need it.
Nosotros somos un brazo de apoyo para ellos. No recibimos dinero.
We are a support arm for them. We do not receive money to do this work. We are volunteers, and we do it with a lot of love and dedication. It is the responsibility of the church. We do it because God has entrusted it to us.
Nisha says, Anton, can you share your thoughts on birthright citizenship? So for those of you that don't know, birthright citizenship is basically that you automatically are a U.S. citizen if you are born on U.S. soil, regardless of your parents' country of origin, if your parents is here illegally, if your parents is from somewhere else, no matter what, you are automatically granted legal status because you were born on American soil. Let me tell you what the problem with that is. And this is the same problem with a lot of the laws that we have on the books. The problem with that is that there are people, and I have talked about that on this platform on a regular basis, there are people that come over into this country just to have a child. There are people that illegally hide their pregnancy or illegally cross over into the borders of the United States of America pregnant and have a child here on purpose to make sure that they can be protected and will not be deported, or their children are automatically granted citizenship in the United States of America. There are people over in China and Japan that take trips here, hide their pregnancy, and then have their children on U.S. soil so that their children can have dual citizenship. They scamming. They're scamming. And so the problem with a lot of these conversations is that we're unwilling to call a spade and have the conversation across the board. And we say, wait, no. It's wrong. The way that people are scamming inside of this country, and they're intentionally doing it, and just because you've been able to get away with it does not mean that that was the original intention of adopting it into our Constitution in the first place. Just because it was intended for something different than what we're using it for today doesn't justify the use of it in the way that you're doing it. It's as simple as that. I think that people have been scamming for a long time. I think that people have been coming over to this country illegally on purpose and using all of the legal loopholes that they can use in order to make sure that they stay over here and they can do stuff that they're not supposed to do instead of going through the process. Why can't y'all make your own country great? Why can't they make their own country great? That is correct, Eric D. The law was intended for children of black slaves. Why can't people, if you want to come over, if I want to go over to Europe and I want to become a citizen, or I want to live over in Europe, I have to abide by the laws. If I want to go and live over in Singapore, or if I want to go and become a resident of another country, I have to have so much money. I have to pay so many fees. We can't just go over into other places and do what we want to do. Now, because we are the most prosperous nation on the face of this earth, people feel like they should be able to do what they want to do and we just supposed to accept it. I'm not rocking with that. I am not rocking with that at all.
So ICE deportation operations have officially begun with a focus on immediate threats to public safety. It comes as border state Arizona introduced their ICE Act, would officially require the state to comply with ICE detainers, but the state's AG speaking out against the president's
Shout out
plan.
to Nisha.
I also will not have any part of and will fight the attempt to set up what I believe are essentially concentration camps and family separation camps in the state of Arizona.
I do not, and Rita will tell you, Rita will absolutely tell you, I've had the opportunity to hire a lot of illegal people to do work for me, especially now that I'm building a lot of homes. I could probably save close to $1 million a year, and the amount of money that it costs me to actually build homes, I can build them faster. I wouldn't have as many problems. I can do it way cheaper. And because I'm building between 4 and 8 a year, I could probably save myself about $1 million, close to $1 million, and cost every single year and put that in my own pocket, while at the same time allowing for them to get money, not have to pay taxes, and then also possibly send that money back to their own home country. I choose to hire, employ, and rock out with licensed, legal Americans that are here inside of the United States of America that I have a great relationship with, that live and work in my own community. I choose to do business and put money in the pockets of Americans. Why? Because I'm still going to be profitable, and so why not spread the money around, and why not do it the right way? Why not spread the money around, and why not do it the right way? Because you exponentially create problems within your culture and society when you start to throw money at something that shouldn't be there just so you can try to be greedy. I want things done the right way. I want to make sure that I have the right relationship. I want to make sure that I put money into my own economy in my own city. I invest in the very places that I was born and raised in. And I make sure that I employ people or do business with people inside of the United States of America that are legal, that are licensed, electricians, excavation, I just did a video earlier this morning where I was showing people the progress of what we've been building over here inside of Michigan, as far as all of the houses and stuff. I just dropped a video just this morning on the Anton Daniels channel. We're going to do everything the right way. We're going to be examples of the thing. And you can do it and still be profitable. And the people around you can be profitable. And that means that you're actually pouring into the community. That means they can buy trucks. That means they can buy homes. That means that they pay more taxes. That means that they taking care of business. They can send their children to college. Why would I rob American citizens of an opportunity to do business and I can still be profitable, immensely profitable, and give that over to people that's not even supposed to be here that don't even pay taxes? That sounds crazy.
Here to explain it all, borders are Tom Holman. All right, Tom, listen, before I get to these Democratic AGs, can you give me the latest numbers on the border?
Absolutely. Look, the greatest president in my lifetime, he's back. Because in 2 days, the last 24 hours, total apprehensions on the southwest border, 766. Compare that to the 10 to 12,000 Biden had at one time. CBP1 releases, 0. CHNV, Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, Venezuela releases, 0.
In 24 hours, we already own it.
Total of 766 across the entire southwest border. That is a game changer.
And that is just some of the plans that have been implemented so far. Now let's talk about the 22 governors, Democratic governors that plan on the attorney generals that are doing this. Tell me the legal authority that they have and the legal authority you guys have if they plan on resisting federal law.
Look, I find it strange that the attorney general from Arizona makes such statements, because there was a lawsuit in Arizona a few years ago, the Show Me Your Papers lawsuit in highest courts in the land that said immigration enforcement is a federal responsibility. Federal responsibility. She has no say in the matter. And look, I've said many times, we said right out of the gate, Lawrence, right out of the gate, we're going to concentrate on public safety threats. So she's saying that she doesn't want public safety threats out of her community. I also am insulted by the term concentration camps. Are you serious? You're comparing ICE agents. We just lost a Border Patrol agent to a shooting up in Vermont yesterday. And
I heard about that. I got a new video that's coming out about that.
And they're the Gestapo. Are you serious? Concentration camps. ICE has detention centers. They have the best standards in the entire industry. I'll compare ICE detention standards to any state or federal facility or any county facility in the entire world. We have the highest detention standards, so that's an insult and it's a lie.
Yeah, it is insulting to the agents, the men and women that do the job. Let's talk about ICE visiting folks, because when I look at it, I look at the law, people that have final deportation orders, people that are criminal aliens. What would a person have to do to get a visit from ICE?
For it to be in the country illegally, first of all, I mean, there's nothing in the immigration law that says you got to be convicted of a serious crime to be removed under the INA. So if you're in the country illegally, ICE can visit you. But right now, as we said repeatedly, and the President Trump's been clear, we're concentrating on the worst first, the public safety threats and national security threats. And just yesterday, in the last 24 hours, ICE arrested over 308 serious criminals. Some of them were murderers, some of them were rapists, some of them raped a child, some were sexual assault of a child. So ICE is doing their job, and they're prioritizing just as the president said they would. So the ICE is performing excellent right now out in the field, and they're going.
Okay, so listen, because we got well over 6,000 people that's watching this on YouTube alone right now. All right, let me ask y'all a question. Who in the chat, regardless of whether you conservative, liberal, Republican, Democrat, independent, whatever you label yourself as, man, woman, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, whatever you do, gay, straight, whatever, regardless of whether we agree or disagree on some issues, regardless of whether you hit a like for the algorithm or you hit a dislike for the algorithm, regardless of whether you're a bag chaser or not, question, who, anybody, name one of y'all, just give me one person that actually would disagree with the idea that a person that came over here illegally, listen to the whole question, a person that came over here illegally that committed a heinous crime should still be here, that we should have mercy on that person. Regardless of where you stand on a political spectrum, sexuality spectrum, identity politics spectrum, Anybody in here, somebody tell me that you agree that they should stay here if they are here illegally and committing heinous crimes, and that they should still be here in the United States of America walking around. How is this not something that we across the board agree with? All across the board. How are we not all across the board agreeing unanimously, regardless? Because this is what it means to be an American. It means that you can have an opinion, I can have an opinion about things that we have culturally, normalized. Oh man, you should pay this amount of taxes. No, we need less taxes. Oh man, we need to invest in infrastructure. No, we don't want to have any more infrastructure updates. We should leave that to the communities. Oh man, we want more EV and mandates. Oh no, we should continue to roll with internal combustion engines because this is what we do for a living and this is going to affect my business. Those are the American issues that we should be debating about on a regular basis. We should not be disagreeing that these people that are committing these heinous crimes against society, against your daughters, against your sons, and see, you ain't gonna hear it until it happens to you, until it's at your doorstep. There's some things that we should not disagree on. You may disagree with me and say, Anton, no, I think that women can preach and they should be in the pulpit and they should be evangelists and bishops and all of this stuff. And I say, no, I don't agree with you or whatever, so on and so forth. We could debate about that all day long as Americans, disagreeing, standing on different sides of the aisles, whatever. How are we disagreeing on fundamental? I don't even think that American citizens I think that they should get a ticket and an opportunity for a country that will want to accept them. We should have a program where we should say, you know what? We got Tyrone, we got Jesus over here, and we got Matthew and Chad, and all of these people, they have committed crimes inside of the United States of America now. We do want to lock them up, but it costs us a lot to lock them up, but maybe they change their ways. Would you like to accept them in your country if they're willing to go and give them an opportunity and we can just extradite them and never let them come over here in the United States of America again? They are American citizens, but if you think that they would be better served helping you guys over there, then they're more than we are more than welcome to let you have them. I think that there should be a program where underserved countries or countries that are developing nations have the opportunity to take our worst and be able to have them as a part of their citizenship. Let alone people that come over here illegally and commit some of the heinous crimes. They definitely shouldn't be walking on the streets.
Continue every day.
Democrats loved you at one point. Now they don't like you so much, Tom. But back in the day, you served in the Obama administration as well. We had Jay Johnson on last week to talk about the border. This is what he said about you. Let's watch it.
When I was in office as Secretary of DHS, I made no significant decision on enforcement policy without having in the room Tom Homan, who worked for me, Kevin McAleenan, who went on to be acting secretary under Donald Trump, two pro-enforcement guys.
And this is the Obama Department of Homeland Security secretary. This man worked under and that's how y'all know that y'all are hypocrites now, and we've become so liberal and so far left that we've lost our way as a society. This is Obama's. He worked under Obama. He said that the very man that Trump has brought back into office that worked under several different presidents except for Biden, that's worked for 7 different administrations, he said he wouldn't even make a decision without Tom Homan in the room. And this is Obama's former Department of Homeland Security. How are we all disagreeing with this?
And then two people on the other side of the spectrum.
So, Tom, you've been doing this for a long time amongst both administrations. You just want the border secure.
I want to save lives. Secure border saves lives. And when President Trump locks this border down, less women and children be sex trafficked.
Let me say this too, and make sure, listen, people be disagreeing with me. It's people in the chat, one guy in the chat, not people. One person in the chat that I know for a fact is gay, and they are a part of the rainbow community. They're trying to disguise themselves, but don't worry about it. Matter of fact, I'll show you who they are because I know they want my attention. Timothy Jameson. I've seen him in other places, and he's already admitted that he is homosexual. And that's not a knock. I'm just acknowledging you. I'm making sure that we respect your pronouns. I seen you at one point say that you want to be acknowledged. I think it was like they and her. So shout out to Timothy Jameson. I acknowledge your pronouns. I want to call you what I seen you ask somebody else to call you on another platform. And I do want to absolutely positively give you the recognition that you deserved. It's some people that be in my chat and mods. If they disagree with me, let them rock as long as they're not cursing egregiously and as long as they're not disrespecting like people's family members and stuff. Let them rock. So, Timothy Jameson, he says, Anton Daniels, you are white man owned and it will be exposed in 2025. Let me give y'all a little bit of a etiquette lesson, all right? Y'all said this the Millionaire Derailment Show. Let me give y'all a little bit of an etiquette lesson because I think that the chat is my co-host for the show. You do not have to type in all caps. I seen it the first time that you said it, baby. I seen it the first time that you said it. Okay? So if you want my attention, just type it one time. I seen you. And I'm using you as an example. And again, I acknowledge your pronouns. I also respect your husband. And shout out to your sassy kids. No, seriously, I respect your husband. I respect him. I think that the American, people should be able to do what they want to do when they want to do it. So feel free to expose me in 2025 about my white owners, but you just don't have to type in all caps. Okay, Pumpkin? All right, let's get back to it, y'all.
In this country. Less aliens would die making that journey. Under President Biden, we've had a record number of people die crossing that border. 600% increase in sex trafficking. And look at the 250,000 young Americans dead from fentanyl. We secured a border, the fentanyl deaths has decreased. Sex trafficking has decreased. Deaths on the border decreased. So it's just about saving lives. Secure borders save lives. And plus, look, you can't have strong national security if you don't have border security.
That's right.
We need to know who's coming in, what's coming in, where's coming in, why it's coming in. So, again, President Trump, game changer, already made a significant difference on that border. This country is already safer because of President Trump.
Tell your husband I said, what up, though? Okay, girl? No, because I know he up there clapping at his iPad, his iPad 1, Series 1. I know he ain't talking to me. I know Anton ain't talking to me. And you got to be careful of, honestly, like these extra sassy guys, you got to be careful of them because sometimes you'll call them their pronouns, she, her, they. But you got to remember, they still got man strength. So I tend to walk away from these type of guys. Honest to God, I tend to, give me a second. Shout out to Tom Holman. We appreciate you for securing our borders. I tend to walk away from confrontation with these type of guys. I call them their pronouns. I acknowledge their husbands. And I walk away because regardless of how they dress and how big their heels are and how much of their beady beads that they got on their chest that they showing out there, they still are men. Biologically. Regardless of whether they want you to identify them as a woman or anything like that, they are still men, seriously, in real life. So you got to remember, they got man strength. And I'll be damned if I get into a fight with one of y'all. That's why I just walk away. You got it, big dog. You got it. I'll be damned if I walk away or if I get into a confrontation and I get body slammed by some dudes that got some BDBs on his chest, identifying as a girl, tricking me into a fight because he know he got man strength. It's still a possibility I can lose. I acknowledge that. I acknowledge you and your husband may team up on me and one of them may be doing, because if it's two of them in a group at the same time, one of them is going down. And I can spot the one that's going to swing with their fist like this. Now the other one, we may have a problem and it's going to take a little bit more, you know what I'm saying, furniture moving up in there. But the one, your boyfriend that swing like this, the bottom, he gone. We getting him. That other one, he can't dodge bullets though. You know what I'm saying? I'm not about to scrap with you, but the one that hit you with his open hand, yeah, we got something for you, big dog. Your husband ain't gonna make it, but you, I'm gonna walk away from you. Anyways, listen, bro, listen. Shout out to all of the chat. Shout out to everybody. Keep playing with me. Keep playing with me. I know I seen you on that other chat. I seen you. Tim. I ain't never been scared of no Tims either. I ain't never been scared of a Timothy. I ain't never seen a menacing Timothy in my life. Jasons, I seen a couple Jasons. I seen a couple Jasons. Johns, you hit a miss on that one. Timothy, you might as well be named Bartholomew. You might as well be named Bartholomew. We ain't nobody. Yo, Tim looking for you. Well, tell him to come find me. Tim looking for you. I'm looking for him. He owe me some money. I ain't never seen a menacing Tim in my life, bro. Not one. Not one. Your mama named you. Your grandmama named you. Both of them named you together inside of the hospital because your daddy wasn't there. They was working together. Your grandmama helped deliver you, bro. Your grandmama helped deliver you. I ain't never scared of a dude who grandmama helped deliver you. Your grandmother cut the umbilical cord. Your father not there. Your father not there. And every Tim that I know is light-skinned too. Seriously, what Tim have you ever ran into that's not light-skinned? Every Tim is light-skinned. I ain't never been afraid of no light-skinned dude. All he gonna do is start singing Drake to me. I'm just saying we can do better. Oh, shout out to you, Tim. I acknowledge your pronouns and tell your husband I said what up. Let me read some of the super chats and we're going to continue on with the show. TM says, can't believe you've never heard of a bad Negro. Maybe it's a Southern thing. I haven't. I've heard of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I ain't never heard of a bad Negro. Y'all remixing the Bible? Key says, that said, Beast, God has revealed himself as a he. Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Each are he. Please change your mind and go his way. Study in context. Talk about it, Kay. Talk about it, Key. Stephen Butler is in the building, says, hi, Anton. Can you elaborate on the executive order Trump signed on insulin? I'm not fully understanding it. Thanks. I haven't seen that. Send it to me. I haven't seen it. I haven't read every single executive order. Some people were lying and saying that Trump had said child support is, taxes and all of that stuff. That was a lie. I researched that. That was a lie. So send it to me and then I'll check it out. Why don't they understand that if you did not go through the legal immigration process, that you are considered an illegal immigrant, which is a crime? I don't know. Enforcer 2K9 says, what's cooler than being cool? Ice cold. What's cooler than being cool? Ice cold. All right. Twez West Philly says, alongside obliterating the IRS, Trump should bring back, now I'm about to file all of my back taxes. Now that Trump is in office, I'm filing all of my back taxes. Literally, they go out this weekend. I promise to God. Listen, on everything, this one is not a joke. I was waiting until January 20th to file my back taxes. I had to make sure that we had the right person in office. I knew that Biden had hired 80,000 new IRS agents, that they was being directed the wrong way. We got to do things the right way. Shout out to Calypso Cyclops. Honest to God, I was waiting. We had them prepared and ready to go, did we not? Woo! Woo! I ain't lying. I said 80,000 new IRS agents? Woo, we got to make sure our T's is crossed and our I's is dotted. Let's hold off. Hold off till after January 20th. Hold off until January 20th so that we can make sure we file our taxes the right way. You know what I'm saying? West Philly says, alongside obliterating the IRS, Trump should bring back the American citizens being able to obtain an allodial title. Buying land and property should be even more worth it. Okay. All right. I'm with you. I'll read a few more super chats and then we'll move over to the next part of the show. I appreciate you. Safari the Poet says, Trump and Vance are the type and shadow of Moses and Aaron. A lot of people don't even know that Aaron was Moses' mouthpiece because Moses couldn't speak that well. Let the people in the USA go from this bondage of darkness so that God is not mocked. I'm with it. I'm with you, Safari the Poet. A.R. Smitty says, all caps, top 5 signs of sassiness. That's a fact. Timothy Tooth is a punk, says T. Sam. Kwame Hennigan says, thank you for keeping it real. I got you, big dog, and thank you for supporting the platform. Vaughn LA23 says, AD, I had a wild convo with a friend about the same thing, and I said, lock him up. Her response was that Americans do way worse crimes. Shaking my head. My pronouns are pay and me. I'm with that. Eugene, shout out to Eugene. I appreciate you. Ash in the building. Does anybody really believe the intent of the 14th Amendment during Reconstruction period after the Civil War was passed in the law to grant illegal personnel newborns rights to become a USA resident, president, congressman, judges, governors, mayors over nationalized citizens? Crazy. No, we don't. And we know that they're using that as a loophole. They say you too much, Anton, as a green monster. No, I'm just acknowledging people's pronouns. No, Tom Dog, we ain't going to have you getting choked out by a ninja rocking half a shirt and denim cutoffs and Doc Martens. Rita got some Doc Martens. They dope too. Jay Ben says, one bites earth, the other better know how to dodge nerf. That's a fact. Orient Nebula says, one of my best friends of 25 years cut our friendship because I voted for Trump. That means that it was never your friend in the first place. My point is the left is absolutely delusional and cutting off family and friends because of a vote is insanity. No, we just separating ourselves from people. Antoine says, true story, I had to protect my family. 2 jumped me. One was short like me. The other one was 6'4". Thank God I know hand-to-hand combat. Security guard watched the show. I would have watched it too. I ain't even gonna lie to you. They need that stand-up special. It's coming. I'm gonna do a whole hour special for y'all, impromptu. Hey, yo, Anton, isn't Hink named Tim? I thought his name was Hink. I don't know. Paul Pruden says, I know you are all about God and the Bible. What do you think of Trump not touching the Bible when swearing in as president yesterday? I didn't see it. Did he swear? Did he go to church? I don't know. Maybe that's why, because of that sassy bishop that he was dealing with. Jeremy H. says, we had to pay tens of thousands of dollars for my wife to get naturalized. They gonna pay too. Talk about it, Jeremy. Might want to wait a few weeks on the back taxes. Let them get all of the freaks out. All right, I'm with it. What's good, AD and the Chasers chatting? The Pumpkins. What's up, Pumpkin? What's up, Pumpkin? That's what I'm going to start calling y'all sassy dudes, Pumpkin. Hey, man, Pumpkin is sending a super chat right now. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's deep dive. Let's go further into this whole migrant situation because they crying, y'all. I was scrolling up social media yesterday on my own algorithm because my algorithm is crazy right now. I was scrolling up social media yesterday, and you know what I seen? I seen tons of migrants disappointed and walking away from the American border after running to the American border in caravans. People were walking away disappointed because they no longer had the ability to cross over into our borders without consequences because they knew that they was going to be hunted down. And people are absolutely destroyed and they're crying and they're disappointed that they couldn't get over into America before Trump got into office. Check it out.
At this migrant shelter on the Mexico-US border, they're waking up to a different, devastating reality. Everyone here was dreaming of a fresh start. A new life in America felt tantalisingly close. But within hours of taking office, Donald Trump effectively closed the border, crushing their plans in an instant. It's not fair, it's very unfair, she says. Erica.
What's unfair? Let's put her on her tears. What's unfair? What is unfair? Is it unfair that they were not able to get into this country illegally? Is it not fair that they were not able to make it in their own country? I'm trying to figure out what part is unfair. Listen, I feel your pain. What? I feel your pain, man. Why are you looking at me like that? Why are you looking at me like that? I feel your pain. All I'm saying is we can cry together. Just cry on your side of the fence. That's all I'm saying.
It's not fair, it's very unfair, she says. Erica is from Guatemala. For a year, she's lived in this dormitory, waiting for an appointment with US immigration officials. Finally, it was arranged for 2 weeks from now. Yesterday, it was cancelled completely.
So in all that time, she ain't even learned English? Yeah, okay.
In a split second, the door was slammed in our face. I don't know what to think anymore. All I know is that I'm going to leave, and I'm going to do it the right way, the correct way.
What would you say to Donald Trump?
I hope that the new president, gets some conscience, and for him to accept that we can enter.
What? Get some conscience and for him to accept that we can enter. What? What are we talking about? What is wrong with these people? And you know what the problem is that they've been doing stuff disrespectfully and illegally for so long that they now feel entitled to come over inside of the United States of America and come in with size 12 shoes and do what they want to do. They feel entitled. They say, listen, they need to get themselves together and accept that we supposed to be there right along with everybody else. Ain't supposed to be no borders. What?
Families from across Central and South America have ended up here. Many are fleeing gang violence and seeking a better life, attempting to enter the US legally. Most through a mobile phone app.
So this is the CBP One app, and the application just completely offline there.
Which Trump took suddenly offline. The concern among some charities is that people could now attempt to enter illegally, taking a perilous route over the Rio Grande River. Within sight is Texas. At this flea market on the US side, steps from the border fence, they're dismayed.
He says he's going to declare a national emergency here, that he's going to close this border and start doing mass-scale deportations. What do you make of that?
Well, my parents are immigrants, so I think that's not fair. And 90% of the people here are immigrants buying here.
So you are one of them birthright citizens, right? And you see, listen, this is what happens, is that eventually you create an environment or a society to where people feel entitled to be here. And if they can't be here, guess what they then start to do? They revolt against you. So you breed your own enemy. In a lot of movies, they teach this concept. In The Art of War, they teach this concept. Do you know why, historically, in so many different books, including in the Bible itself, when God would send his people or the children of Israel to take over an entire town, and he would say, don't take their wives, don't take their trinkets, don't take their stuff, don't take anything that represents them, destroy everything utterly. Don't take their women, don't take their gold, destroy everything. And occasionally people would be disobedient and they would have to pay the price for it. But a lot of times what happens is when you see, for example, let's just say, use a small example, like a movie, right? And somebody survives. Let's say you go in and the man was a huge drug dealer and all of this, and somebody survives And then the person, their kid, was watching in the closet, and then they wind up becoming Colombiana, and they want to come in and kill and destroy everything. Basically, you leave a remnant that allows for people to harbor that resentment against you, and then it transforms into some of the worst people in America. When you leave people, or when you allow for people to come in and change the culture that we already had, and they say, no, what was American culture, what was traditional values, what we do, and go to church and honor each other and take care of our women and honor our men and have children in wedlock and go to church and don't remix the Bible into being something else, and American and English is the national language of Americans inside of the United States of America. When you then transform that over a period of years, what we knew to be normal changes. And then the Middle East becomes United States of America, but a remixed version where basically everybody can do what they want to do. You know, Mexico becomes, there's places in America where they don't even speak English. And so when you allow for people to come in and transform the cultural norms, what happens is they then develop resentment against you. That's when they then start to align themselves with liberal policies and liberal values because their children can now vote. And they've raised up a whole community of people that say, well, I was an immigrant, or my parents was immigrants. I want everybody to come here, and they advocate against it. And then you got to, as a legislator, start to appeal to their best interests because now they're American citizens and they have a whole community of people that can vote you out. That's what happens when you let remnants and little things fester along and don't destroy it completely. When you finally decide to raise up on your enemies, you have to destroy them completely. You cannot leave any remnant of them. And I'm not talking about the physical as far as killing people. That's not, I don't want y'all to think that I'm advocating for that. But what I am saying is anybody that I decided, even as a content creator, if anybody that I decided, because I'm never going to announce, oh man, I'm about to go against this person or I'm a leverage. I don't do that. You'll never know what's coming, and when you're gone, you're gone. You're gone, you're gone. You have to destroy. When you get up against your enemies, you don't make an announcement. You don't try to conversate about it. You destroy them completely. You eliminate them and the possibility of them ever coming up against you or to declare a posse. You eliminate them completely. Real talk.
Bringing in just the flow of money. Mm-hmm. So I think that would just stop the economy.
It really hurts me. Hardworking Latinos.
If we got any bots that's inside of the chat, go ahead and get rid of them, guys. Y'all know what to do. I got mods in here. They'll handle it. Go ahead and take care of that, y'all.
Don't have papers or try to get their papers, and they're just like the backbone of this country. I have friends, they've been here since like 2 or 3 years old.
Some of them don't have papers,
no,
and so now they might be vulnerable to being thrown out of the country.
Yeah, they're either trying to get a sponsorship through their jobs, or they're just trying to see how they can get him.
They must be panicked.
They're very worried.
The new regime is already on display here. These boys will soon create a barrier in the river to thwart immigrants crossing. More razor wire.
National emergency declared at our southern border.
24 hours into Donald Trump's second presidency, and he's already following through on his campaign promise to crack down on the flow of migrants crossing over the border.
One of the first orders includes deploying U.S. troops to the border. Fox 10's Kenzie Beach is there. She joins us live from Nogales. What have you seen there today?
Yeah, well, John, Christina, the Nogales port of entry is right behind me. In terms of changes we've seen today, that executive order has a lot of things in it, a lot of things to break down, which we'll get to. But no U.S. troops here yet today. You're seeing that line behind me, people looking to make their way from Arizona into Mexico. That hill right behind me, that is Mexico. You can see along that border wall going from east to west. But no U.S. troops deployed here, no changes on the Arizona side. As for the other side of the border, the U.S. Customs and Border Protection One app was completely shut down yesterday, limiting people's access into Arizona. We spoke with the Nogales mayor. He fears this executive order could have very large implications for residents here in Nogales. Trump's executive order plans to end birthright citizenship and catch and release, reinstate the Remain in Mexico policy, designate cartels as foreign terrorist organizations, and end the CBP One app. Cochise County Sheriff Mark Donalds says the executive order frees up funding, which means more manpower for border towns and local law enforcement.
It makes it manageable. It adds resources, technology, personnel, infrastructure, all the things we need to do to secure the border, to secure our country, but also brings engagement back to these communities.
Residents in Arizona border town Nogales fear the new order could do more damage than good.
People come and go, they spend thousands and thousands of dollars here, and he forgets that. The same way we go over and we spend our money over there. We need each other, and there isn't any animosity here between the border.
Nah, we not doing that no more. We not doing that no more. All of these towns, they shouldn't have become interdependent on illegal activity and illegal migration into their cities for them to survive. That's y'all fault. You know what happened during the 2008 housing crisis? They said, Detroit, that's y'all fault that y'all didn't diversify and have more than just the auto industry, because when the auto industry started to suffer, then y'all was the worst hit when it came to the housing crisis and the layoffs, because the auto industry was the ones that was doing the biggest layoffs of any other industry inside of the United States of America. They said that's y'all fault. We learned from our mistakes. We diversified. We became the mortgage capital of the country. We became the mortgage capital of the country. We started to recruit. We then got our auto industry back, but now we're not interdependent on the auto industry in order for us to survive. We're going to be fine. That's y'all fault for not building up y'all communities and making it more than just a migrant destination to be dependent on people coming across the border and spending their money. Your fault. You should have did better. So all of these border towns and these blue cities that is basically propping themselves up with illegal activity, it's time to pay the piper and it's time to get y'all lives together.
Open up at least a few more parts of the border for us just to get to where we have to go, because I have to drop off my kids at 6 o'clock in the morning just so they could cross to come to school.
Daniel says Arizona leads the nation in the amount of fentanyl seized at our border.
About 52% plus of all the fentanyl seized in Arizona, primarily on your 4 border counties here. Again, we have to recognize the evil that the cartels are pushing into our country.
Shout out to Ava. What up, Ava?
On the other hand, Nogales Mayor Jorge Maldonado questions where migrants will be detained before being deported and fears it could fall on small cities like Nogales.
And what's going to happen if Mexico does not receive all types of migrants, or meaning all nationalities, not just people from Mexico. Don't want them to just throw me all citizens or all nationalities to our city.
So border towns are in a little bit of a limbo right now. When we spoke with the Nogales mayor, Mayor Maldonado, he was actually on his way to a very big meeting. He could not give us much information about that, but it was a lot of local law enforcement, Border Patrol, U.S. Customs and Border Protection was going to be there, as well as sheriffs and mayors of the bordering counties here between Arizona and Mexico. He said the priority of that meeting was making sure that they were just all on the same page, but he says they have not heard anything from the state or federal level yet in terms of changes at the border, but they expect them to be coming, so they just all want to be on the same page. Live in Nogales, Kenzie Beach, Fox 10 News.
That means y'all not going to be able to go to Home Depot and pick you up an illegal worker no more. In my city, they not hanging out at Home Depot. In my city, they're not hanging out on Home Depot. But I've been to a lot of cities across the United States of America. And one of the things that I like to do is drive by Home Depot. For whatever reason, I don't see them outside of Lowe's. I always see them outside of Home Depot. And you would drive around Home Depot, and you would see a bunch of people out there waiting on somebody to pick them up so that they can go and work for cheap. That's over. Them days is over. We run into America the way that America is supposed to be is ran going forward. Shout out to Young Gladiator, says, do you think Trump has any plans up his sleeve for baby mama empowerment movement, like incentivizing families? I have no idea. No idea whatsoever. I do think we need to revise family court laws. AD, shout out to Tanisha Wilson for listening to me to vote Trump. Shout out to Wyatt and Tanisha Wilson. Happy Girl says Britain is saying send illegals home too. Everywhere across the world, that's what they're protesting against, is illegal migration. We got ladies in distress. My pipe needs paying, says Mr. Maximus. Zen Dub says y'all better keep the same energy with the Ukrainians. Larry, shout out to Larry. Jesus Christ, Larry. 100 ball for you for keeping it 100. The budget Patreon changed my mindset. Waiting on Stock Club this weekend. 2025 going to be a movie. Thanks for the content. If y'all not a part of the Patreon, y'all are sorely missing out. We over 14,000 strong, approaching 15,000. And we got content, live streams, videos. It's all been up there. That's changing people's lives. I'm telling you, it's crazy. Y'all absolutely need to jump in. Rush King 19 says, it's pinned to the top of the chat. People got mad when Trump called some South American countries S-holes, but why? That out of all South America, they only come here? Andrea Robinson, shout out to Andrea Robinson, says, Biden took the app offline before Trump swore in. Nope, that's not true. It went offline right after Trump got sworn in. Danielle S. says, transgenders, eunuchs, castrados is a part of the art of war too. They will not leave in hair to seek revenge or want to change things. Ming Dynasty used them in every part of government and society. That's pretty awesome. I like that. I like that super chat. Safari the Poet says, all these entitled illegal immigrants know this is a low IQ situation, an emotional sleepwalking herd of people instead of ones with godly character. Only the God-fearing people will turn this country around, and let's go. I love what y'all talking about today. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel with turn on your notifications. Let's move into the next segment of the show. I want to bring a couple people up to highlight some of the things that they're communicating. The first thing I want to talk about is Byron Donalds. I had the opportunity to meet with Byron at the Legacy Freedom Ball in D.C. that we just came from. I still got the thing right there. The Legacy Freedom Ball. He is a really, really cool person. Really down to earth. And I think that he's going to be a star of the Republican Party going forward. Byron Donalds had a message for California and Gavin Newsom. Check it out.
Whew. Whether it was Georgia, North Carolina, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Arizona, or Nevada, we swept them all, and Donald Trump is president of the United States. For years, they said it wasn't going to happen. For years, they said, no, it's going to be the left's way. But it was the American people who looked the craziness of the left in the eye and said, we need common sense. We need real vision. We need a country that is going to be preeminent above all others. And we need the American people to be put first. And all of you in this arena and around this country made sure Donald Trump is the 47th president of the United States.
I see a lot of people in the chat saying that they think that Byron Donalds will be the... Wait a minute. Y'all said he's going to be the first black president. So y'all don't consider Obama black? Come on, man. Y'all pushing it now. Y'all pushing it. Y'all don't think that Obama... Why everybody keeps saying that he's going to be the first black president? Jay Laura says Byron will be president. Y'all think that Byron Donalds has what it takes to be president of the United States of America? Should be interesting.
Being here in Washington on January 20th is special for me. This is the day we commemorate the birthday of Dr. King. And as I was sitting in the Capitol Rotunda, as I was watching Donald Trump give
up to my
the
dog,
best
Class C in the
speech
building?
ever at a presidential inauguration. It reminded me to another great speech. And Pastor Sewell and his benediction, I gotta have a talking with him because he was phenomenal. But what it said to me is that in our country, there are no perfect men. There are no perfect women. There are people who were used at a point in time in this country to put this country in position to be better than it was before. And so that's why in the Capitol Rotunda, when President Trump talked about that bullet that went through his ear, and that he is here at this time because God has placed him here at this time to make sure that the golden era of America comes through right now. So yes, we are going to make sure that we get your prices under control and we have a great economy. Yes, we're going to get out of stupid wars and dumb conflicts, and we're going to have peace through strength. Yes, our soldiers are going to be focused on their core mission, and that is to kill the enemy and to come home. Yes, we're going to have the largest repatriation force of illegal immigrants in the history of this country, because the only way you come to America is legally, following the law.
And that is not a novel concept. That's just common sense. We've become a nation that don't even know what common sense looks like anymore. How are y'all so stupid to where y'all advocating for people that's here illegally? We've become a nation that is no longer following common sense anymore. We don't believe in common sense or common sense laws.
All of those promises and more, they're going to be kept starting today at that very desk over there. And I got a special message, and this is for states like California and New York and Illinois. If you want to continue to have a dumpster fire form of government, if you want to continue to mislead your people thinking that your radical policies are the way forward, people like myself in the great state of Florida and Tennessee and Texas and the administration of Donald J. Trump, we are going to show you what true governance is. We are going to show you what true leadership is. And we are going to show the people in your states that they don't have to live with Gavin Newsom. They can have a Republican again in the state of California.
That's the real question. Do y'all think that California will ever get back to its roots? Do you think that California will ever have a conservative governor? Do y'all think that is it possible for people? I don't know. California is such a wild place. It is like the Wild Wild West out there. I don't know. Unless it's like a celebrity like Arnold Schwarzenegger was. Do y'all think that it's possible for California to flip red and decide that they want to go with a Republican governor that is not a celebrity? I don't know, man. It's a lot of places in California that's red, but the strongholds, those cities, they blue as ever, bro.
And the last thing, because I don't want this to be about red states versus blue states, we are Americans. And the thing that will unify us is the success of our nation. When a young kid can grow up in the inner city and make something of himself, that is success. When a mom can dream about her children and they achieve something wonderful in America, that is success. When an immigrant from another country comes through the right way and they actually build something and they add to what America truly is, that is success. When we unify our efforts and we can disagree, but still keep the most perfect union ever known going, that is success. Those are the common sense ideals of America. That is the leadership that Donald Trump is going to bring. And I don't care if you're in California or Florida, that is going to be the guiding principles of the United States of America.
I don't know if, I think that J.D. Vance is obviously next up. J.D. Vance is going to probably secure the nomination in 2028. I know y'all saying that Byron Donalds, y'all would like to see him ultimately become president. He would have to be next up after J.D. Vance. And then we would have to not regress. But this is what's happening in California as a result of Trump signing over 200 executive orders and deciding to round up people that are the worst in a society and send them back home. Check it out.
State leaders from both sides of the aisle were quick to respond to Donald Trump's inauguration speech and his first official actions as America's 47th president.
Fox 40 Capitol reporter Anton Daniels spoke one-on-one with California Attorney General Rob Bonta about state-led efforts to fight Trump. He's joining us now live from outside the state capitol with more on that conversation. And also, Anton, you have reaction from an assembly member who flew to D.C. for the big day.
Oh, yes, Nikki and Eric, good evening to you. And that would be Assembly Member Joe Patterson, Republican of Rockland. He is one of several Republican lawmakers here at the state capitol who believe Donald Trump's policies will benefit California. But California Attorney General Rob Bonta, well, he heavily disagrees, and now he says he's ready for a fight.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
As Donald J. Trump was sworn in as America's 47th president.
So help me God. So help me God. Congratulations, Mr. President.
Thousands of miles from here.
How are you this morning?
Here in Sacramento, California Attorney General Rob Bonta took the stage at the 43rd annual MLK Jr. March for the Dream. Without mentioning Trump by name, Bonta implied California is ready to fight the new administration.
Make sure that we continue to have our rights, our freedoms, that our democracy is sound, and I commit to you to do everything in my power to stand with you as we do that in the days, months.
What are y'all thinking? And that's why I'm saying I don't think that some of these states could be saved. I think that they're too far gone. I think that Chicago and Illinois is too far gone. I think that California, Los Angeles is too far gone. I'm holding out hope for New York, but I don't see it because it's not like they're ever going to elect. I don't see another Republican governor or mayor coming into office anytime soon. Denver is hell. You know, there's places in this country that's so far gone. I don't know. Like, why would you wage a war against the federal government? First day in office, actually this is his second day in office, and you're waging a war against Donald Trump and the federal government. Knowing that a lot of your funding that saves you come from Donald Trump and the federal government.
Years ahead.
If it sounds familiar, it's because it is. California sued the first Trump administration more than 120 times over a myriad of issues, from the environment to abortion rights to immigration. And speaking of immigration, on this day one of Trump's second presidency, he's already taking action with an executive order he promises will lead to mass deportations of immigrants who are in the country without legal status.
All illegal entry will immediately be halted, and we will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came.
But during this one-on-one interview, Bonta told me he's ready to sue to stop Trump's immigration-related executive orders right away. Are you prepared to take the Trump administration to court possibly as soon as today?
We are, and we think we will. We're ready to file on an issue that we expect him to take action on, attacking the U.S. Constitution, attacking birthright citizenship, a long-established right for Americans. He should expect to see us in court. We're ready to file today. So,
if you are a conservative, if you are a person that embodies traditional values, if you believe in legal migration, not illegal migration, and you don't want your home to be burned down, I think that you should leave California immediately, personally. I think that California is just gone. It's successful. I like visiting. I don't think that I would ever live in California. We might have a buying opportunity now that everybody's homes is burned down, though. Let me go ahead and read some of these super chats, and then I'm going to move over into Bernie. Feel the burn. It's 8 degrees in Detroit right now, and it feels like negative 15, still getting to that bag. Shout out to Bon K. Jor in the building. Class E Beats. My dog. Shout out to Class E Beats. I love this guy. This is my guy. Nicolette Venus says, love is the key. I feel you. I'm feeling loving right now. I'm feeling real loved right now by y'all. Y'all are the greatest audience on the face of this earth. 3-Man Podcast says Byron Donalds would be the first black president, vice president to be raised by a black woman. Kamala, mom Indian, Obama, mom white. Y'all got to let go of this race thing, y'all. Honest to God. I don't care about identity politics. I speak on it because it's something that's popular in the culture that's really, really bothering people and that people standing on. I don't care. Only thing I care about is if you a good person and if you speaking on the best interests of the people and the American people. That's who I'm going to vote for. I don't care if you black or white or any of that. I genuinely, it does not matter. The only thing that matters is whether or not you got great politics. Unbiased Raw says, Obama black adjacent black men control their wives. Orion Nebula says, Anton, how do I get on one of your discussion panels? You can use another black conservative man on the panel with intelligent, fact-driven perspectives. You got to reach out to Island Gal Q, DMer. King Pueblo says, what do you think about Elon seemingly doing a Nazi salute? I was shocked when I saw it. I think I first saw it last night, when I was adding in the timestamps for a previous show. I think I first saw it last night. I don't know. I don't agree with it. I don't know. I don't know what else y'all want me to say. Chip Burner, you mentioning how your father taught you to speak conducively has taught me a lesson. I needed that. Felt like a weight was lifted off of my shoulders. Shout out to Chip Burner. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm and make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. I want to tap into one more thing before we get out of here. I want to go into Bernie Sanders. I always got to get an opposing view or a different perspective, at least. I have not seen this video yet, but we know that Bernie Sanders is an extreme liberal and he believes in overtaxing the rich and all this stuff. And so he said that he attended the inauguration and this was his authentic thoughts. And I want to share it with you guys and I want to react to it in real time. Let's get to it, y'all.
I was at the Trump inauguration yesterday, and needless to say, I disagree with much of what he had to say. But what really struck me, however, is not what he said, which was not surprising given his rhetoric, but what he didn't say. The simple truth is that Donald Trump gave a major speech, the first speech of his second presidency, and ignored virtually every important issue facing the working families of this country. How crazy is that? Our healthcare system is broken, is dysfunctional, and it's wildly expensive. Not one word from Trump about how he is going to address the healthcare crisis. We pay by far the highest.
Now, I could be wrong. Y'all educate me. Y'all let me know. I thought that Obama was the one that solved for the healthcare crisis with Obamacare. I thought that Obama had solved the healthcare crisis. He didn't do it. I thought that that was supposed to be his landmark legislation and his stamp on history. I thought Obamacare was supposed to fix all of y'all problems. Y'all not rocking with it? Okay, so it's Trump's responsibility again. All right, let's continue.
Highest prices in the world for prescription drugs, sometimes 10 times more than the people in other countries. And 1 out of 4 Americans are unable to afford the prescriptions that their doctors prescribe. Not one word in his speech on the high cost of prescription drugs.
I thought that that was one of the things that Biden and Kamala Harris was running on, was that they had tackled the price of prescription drugs and medicine and driven down healthcare costs. Okay, I could be wrong.
We have 800,000 Americans who are homeless and millions of people spending 50 or 60% of their limited income on housing. We have a major housing crisis in America. Everybody.
No, we don't. We don't have a housing crisis. We have an affordability crisis. We don't have a housing crisis. We have an affordability crisis. Let's make sure we keep it in context. I shouldn't be telling the senator this, but let's continue.
He knows it. And Trump, in his inaugural address, did not devote one word to it. Today in America, we have more income and wealth inequality than we have ever had.
Not to tax the rich.
The wealthiest 3 people in America now own more wealth than the bottom half of our society. But Trump had nothing to say, not one word, about the growing gap between the very rich and everybody else. And maybe, just maybe, that's because he had those 3 people, the 3 wealthiest people in our country, sitting right behind them at its inauguration.
Let me give y'all a little bit of insight. Did you guys know that every single day, there are 1,700 new millionaires minted every single day? Every single day in the United States, roughly 1,700 people become millionaires. There are 24.5 million millionaires in the United States, and that number is increasing every single day. Ain't that crazy? That's why when I see people that then say stuff to me like, man, I wonder if you even a millionaire. Like, is it really that difficult for you to get there if you do things the right way and you discipline and you stay down long enough? Is it really that difficult? Bernie Sanders is a millionaire. Bernie Sanders is a lifetime politician and he's a millionaire. He's a millionaire. A millionaire. Every single day. In the United States, roughly 1,700 people become millionaires. According to a recent study, and this was back in 2022, it's actually increasing now. Approximately 24.5 million millionaires in the United States of America, and that number is increasing. I'm going to leave that there, but we'll come back to it.
And I should add that those 3 people, if you can believe it, and this really is unbelievable, saw their wealth increase by more than $233 billion since the November elections. How's that? $233 billion increase.
That's not how that works. All right, so I'm going to let him play out the rest of his speech, but I just want to make sure that I add context to this. That's not how that works. All of their wealth is tied to the success of their companies. It's called equity. Their net worth goes up based off of the value that they add into society. So, you can also invest in the same companies that they're invested in. When they get their compensation, they get it in the form of stock options and equity into their companies that they created, they started, that they risked, they put all of their money up for. And so now that they're reaping the benefits, we now have villainized them and say, no, their net worth increased by $200 billion. That's because of the value of the companies have went up by $800 billion. And their compensation is directly tied to the success of it. See, nobody tripped. Nobody cared back in 2008 through 2010 when Tesla was on the verge of bankruptcy and they were 6 days away from actually filing from bankruptcy and being insolvent. Nobody cared. When Elon Musk was historic, like if you go back and look at the story of even when they were launching the Model 3 and the Model Y, when he was sleeping every single day on the floor, he was sleeping inside of the plant on a daily basis because they were hemorrhaging money, they were having problems, they couldn't get it launched, and so he was sleeping on the floor with the engineers trying to get that thing off the ground, and they were 6 days away, 6 6 days away from losing everything, nobody cared. He bet everything on himself and he won. And now we want to villainize it and say that it's a bad thing for you to create wealth. Well, you basically decentivize the ability for people to continue to run up a bag. Underground, Uncut Underground. What's going on, my friend? Welcome to the show. Say, no way to sugarcoat it. Wealth is wealth. Somebody told me, and I could be wrong. I'm just sharing with you what somebody told me. That's why I never say this is a fact. I heard somebody in the chat say that you got a bag off of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and that you sitting pretty out here in these streets. Is that true? Because if it is, that means that at a time when it was maybe unpopular to do so and that you would have to risk money that you traded in your time for, basically you went to work and you grinded and you got your bag, and then you had to trade in your time for money, and instead of you going and investing in or putting your money into a car or a Hellcat or something like that, that you decided to make an investment into the possibility of getting rich or at least getting a bag, and you decided to invest in Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. Is that true? I don't know. I'm asking the question. Because how is that any different than anybody else betting on themselves and winning? Or it's a lot of other people that lose. They start businesses every day or they invest in something and they lose every day. No, dog. See, you're complaining about the same thing that you then became successful off of, if that be true. It's called capitalism. And there should not be a limit to the amount of wealth that somebody can generate based off of the value that they add into society. They solve for a problem, or they invested in themselves, and or both, and then they benefited off of that success. That is literally the American dream. Some of the very people that benefit off of the system and this capitalistic system that we exist off of, which isn't perfect. It's not perfect, but it's better than anything else in the world. I'd rather be here than in China. I'd rather be here than in Japan. I'd rather be here than in Russia. I'd rather be here than in the UK. I'd rather be here than in Canada, where they got the most egregious taxes. And if you're saying that it's not, then tell me where else it is that you can go. That's all I'm saying. Let's let Bernie finish his statement, and we're gonna assess what he has to say. We're not going to stop him. We're going to let him get his stuff off.
Increase in wealth for the three wealthiest people. No wonder they were sitting right behind Donald Trump at his inauguration. They couldn't be happier. During his inaugural speech, Trump did not have one word to say about how we're going to address the planetary crisis of climate change. The last 10 years have been the warmest years ever recorded, and extreme weather disturbances and natural disasters are taking place all over the world, from Los Angeles to India, across Europe to North Carolina. Not one word from Trump about climate change, except, of course, to make it clear that he intends to make this horrific situation even worse with drill, baby, drill. Just brilliant. In the coming months and years, our job is not just to respond to every absurd statement that Donald Trump makes. Our job is to stay focused on the issues that are of importance to the working families of our country, and in fact are widely supported by the American people. Let me just mention a few of them. Yes. Healthcare is a human right, and we must join in every other major country in guaranteeing health care to all people through a Medicare for All single-payer program. Health care.
Get that piece of crap up out of here. Canada's system is in shambles right now. We trying to mimic that crap?
Care is a human right. Yes, we must take on the greed of Big Pharma and substantially lower the cost of prescription drugs in this country. Yes, we must build millions of units of affordable housing and low-income housing.
No, absolutely not. This guy is a kook. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to stop him. I said I was going to let him rock. You're right.
Yes, we must make sure that all of our young people have the ability to get a higher education by making public colleges and universities tuition-free. Yes, we must work with the global community to combat climate change by cutting carbon emissions and transforming our energy system away from fossil fuel and into sustainable energy. Yes, we must pass legislation to raise the absurdly low federal minimum wage of $7.25 an hour to a living wage of $17 an hour. Anybody who works 40 hours a week in this country should not be living in poverty. Yes, we must pass
It doesn't solve the problem. They so stupid. Because the price of having this, and it's all individual based off of the state. Every state has its own minimum wage in the first place. And then secondly, I'm going to let Bernie rock. But secondly, it doesn't solve for the cost of living adjustment. So you can increase wages, but all they're going to do is increase prices, which they then pass on to the consumers. And that's how you get inflation individually or within your own sector, in addition to the value that money, in addition to the fact that money, the value of money goes down as they continue to print it. You can raise it as high as you want. When a burger costs $40, it's not going to matter. When you got to trade in 3 hours of your time to buy a burger, that's going to be a problem for you.
PRO Act and make it easier for workers to join trade unions and grow the trade union movement in America. Yes, in order to help fund the needs of working families in this country, we must demand that the wealthiest people in this country, including those individuals sitting right beside Donald Trump at his inaugural,
pay their fair
start paying their fair share of taxes.
How do you suggest that we do that? Do we start taxing unrealized gains? Elon Musk paid the most in taxes of anybody in history a couple years ago. He paid more. He paid billions in taxes in one single year, more than anybody in history, and propped up the IRS. How would he suggest that these people then pay even more in taxes? Should we tax unrealized gains? Should we tax unrealized gains in your houses, in your portfolio, and your equity that you have and that you was paid in your company? How would he suggest this? California has the highest taxes in the nation, and they in shambles. New York has the highest taxes in the nation, and they in shambles. You can't tax your way to wealth. You cannot tax your way to wealth. Maryland is raising taxes, and they're running out all of the tax base. You cannot tax your way to wealth. It does not work. They trying to do it over in Chicago, and they got downgraded on their credit. You cannot tax your way to wealth. That's not what happens. It's crazy.
Yes.
And the government don't need no more of our money to manage our money. They need to get their hands off of our money. They already got too much that they mismanaging, and y'all don't even want to do an audit of the federal government.
We must end a corrupt campaign finance system which allows a handful of billionaires to buy elections and move us rapidly into an oligarchic form of society.
This guy just talking.
Bottom line, as we enter the new Trump presidency, we have got to remain focused. We cannot panic. No matter how many executive orders he signs, and no matter how many absurd statements he makes, our goal remains the same. We have got to educate, we have got to organize, we've got to put pressure on Congress to do the right things.
You are
And
Congress.
by the way, with Republicans only holding a 3 or 4 seat advantage in the House, we can stop them time and time again if we are organized. Finally, my friends, we have got to fight to create an America based on economic, social, racial, and environmental justice.
Get the hell out of here, Bernie Sanders. Anyways, I'm done with Bernie. We done with Bernie. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Let me read some of these super chats, and then I'm going to get y'all up out of here for the day. Denise. What up to Denise? I appreciate you, Denise. Jeannie says Byron Donalds is running for Florida governor in 2026. That would be cool. A.D. Bernie has a point. Let's be honest. A point about what? Usually the only people that say that type of stuff is broke people, man. And I'm not saying you broke. I'm just saying that you might have a broke mentality. Denise Loper says birthright citizenship was for freed slaves, children only. That's why that amendment was there. I agree with you. Shay is in the building and says, I currently live in LA. You're right. Time to roll up out of here and take my experience elsewhere. I definitely emailed you and applied to your producer role. Shout out to Shay. Zach Kearney says, hey, Anton, do you think updating immigration laws to where immigrants must speak fluent English and do a background check should be allowed in? Absolutely. Climate change. We can't control the acts of our Lord Bernie. Howie Brown is in the building with the super sticker. I appreciate you, Howie Brown. Thank you for holding me down. And Tay, shout out to Tay, says they want people who work at Circle K and Chick-fil-A to make enough to take care of their 3 kids. These are side jobs and children's jobs. That's what it used to be. No excuse lifestyle. Rocky Cage says it's very hard to listen to Bernie Sanders and take him seriously. Do you realize that people actually wanted him to be president of the United States of America some years ago? Yes, they did. Anyways, we love you. We appreciate you. You guys are the greatest on earth. Tomorrow we are back in the studio and we running it up. I love y'all. I think an episode of Let's Rant About It is dropping tonight, but we'll see. I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for tuning into the Millionaire Morning Show. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.